Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. This is your closing bell for Friday, November 18th, 2022. Fade the Public Friday. Don't be the pizza man. What else? 12 days left in this month. I keep saying that because I just remember Halloween, and all of a sudden now we're Thanksgiving in a few days, and next thing you know, 'tis the season, deck the halls, eggnog, and all that other crap, and Mariah Carey on every station. But it is what it is. So without further ado, we got our weekly Friday breakdown. The slate is this long. My head's spinning like Carey. I follow gambling Twitter, and these guys just throw out every TV game. They take the over, take the under, and these guys with big check marks, big platforms, just blowing smoke up your you know what. It's comical. Ask them for a record the last 10 days, 20 days, month, weeks. How about years? You know, January 1st, 2023, we will start our 8th full season. Our 8th year of public service on social media, on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, now Twitch, Facebook. Same face, same bat channel. Haven't left, and I don't plan to go anywhere. Mass getting ready to launch sooner than later, sometime in 2023. The brick and mortars, God willing, before the Super Bowl. The mobiles, hopefully for March Madness, the first pitch of baseball. It couldn't be a more exciting time to be a part of ECSI, to be a part of the VIPs, to get texts and emails daily. You don't have to leave the couch, the gym, the golf course, wherever the hell you are. Just let us do all the work. We're your personal sports broker. If you can go to Coin Drive 10, 20 dimes, God bless you. If you can go to EF Hutton and drop 5, 10, 20, $30,000 dimes, God bless you. It's the same old story there. Try to get your money back. It's not happening. But enough. That's my rant for the day. So let's bring him in. Without further ado, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. What is up, Riley?
What is up, my friend? Happy Friday afternoon. Been a long 2 hours without you, so I'm glad to be back rolling in the afternoon here for this. As you mentioned it, the slate is, I'm a little smaller on the screen here, so, hard to emphasize how big it is, but it's massive, man. The college basketball has already been rolling along. As we were finishing up the Big Ten show, we had Penn State, Virginia Tech go down to a wild finish. I had the plus 3.5. I don't know if you saw the end of it, but Virginia Tech inbound on the ball with 1.1 second left, up by 2, launches it full court, and they kind of tip it around to end the clock, and I get the cover on the plus 3.5. I thought we were gonna get a 2 free throws with 0.2 seconds left for a loss or something like that. So I'm starting the day off nicely. Don't have anything for a few hours here, so I'm ready to rock and roll. See if we can see if we got anything either of us can turn ourselves onto here. But, I'm ready to roll. I've got some you talked about a little bit of NBA with your Celtics this morning. We've got some other NBA games. I got my Bulls blog out in between shows here, so that one's out ready to roll, which I'll talk about when we the pick when we get to the Bulls game. But, I'm ready to rock and roll, man. We've got a hell of a slate today, and obviously got Mr. Lucky coming in to talk some NFL at some point here this next hour or so, I think.
So, I'm scrolling through the boards and a dollar short. What is it? I forget the stupid saying, but you know what sucks is when you're a day early or a day late. That's what sucks. We talked about it as we were wrapping up earlier today. Colorado just said, you know what? Hey, we didn't show up yesterday, but we're sure showing up today. And I watched the A&M team a little yesterday, and they were getting blown out. They make a comeback. They rally the troops to come up short. But It's so damn early. This is where I wanted to start. You remember I talked about your school down the road, and then you said the Loyola of Chicago.
Mhm.
I talked about Sister Mary. How'd they do against Tulsa yesterday?
I don't believe it was very good, was it? No, it was 85-66. I was trying to pull it out. I didn't remember what the final score was, and I lost track of that one. But yeah, not good exactly there.
And so you find these little diamonds in the rough. And again, when people are just throwing darts at a dartboard and they're looking for these schools that they know something about, whether it is Sister Mary, whether it's, they hear a lot about Gonzaga, they hear the big names, and they're on TV. They just flock to it and navigate it. And then they're sitting there scratching their head like, what did I just do?
Right, and yeah, I think 24 hours tomorrow from now, or 12 hours from now, 16 hours from now, I think there's going to be a lot of people talking about that with this gigantic basketball slate, college and NBA. If I'm being totally honest with you, so I'm thinking I think you and I are on the same page for the most part in a lot of these games today. Whether it's big games, small games, I don't know, but yeah, I think tomorrow or tonight could be kind of just furthering the point that you're talking about right now.
And I'm going to turn it over to you in a second. I'm just going to tell everyone watching and listening, because we got a handful that are watching and listening right now. I scroll deep into the archives, and I love my small schools. The rotation numbers that are 6 numbers and not just 2 numbers or 3 numbers. And I saw something before my eyes, and I'm just going to release it out to everyone now. And of course, I got to go through 10,000 props here, so bear with me, guys. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So this is down in rotation 306,602. SIU Edwardsville is playing Fairleigh Dickinson at 7:30 on a neutral court. If you asked me for one starting name on either side, their mascots, their coach's name, I know nothing. I can go to Ken Palm right now. I can give you the starting lineups. I can give you the breakdown of matchup, yada, yada, yada. SIU favored by 4.5 with a team with an under over of 150. The under over is up to 155.5. But before my eyes, about a half hour ago, Fairleigh Dickinson went to a pick and a 1-point favorite. There's no info. There's no guys out. There's no nothing. So anyone listening that wants to go to the window right now, just grab Fairleigh Dickinson plus a point and a pick 'em. If they're minus a point, just grab the money line minus 115. Hopefully, thank me later. I don't know. But that's where I just wanted to start there. We'll get to the college basketball slate, of course. Go ahead.
No, I like it. Knights and Cougars to help you out with the mascots in those games. I had to look up SIUE, even though it's in my state. I knew the Knights as far as Fairleigh Dickinson there, but I love my I like these matchups. SIUE as far as Illinois residents legally can't bet on it, unfortunately, for my neck of the woods here. But I like what you're talking about for sure there, for 100%.
I guess I'll go to the small one first. 2 college football games. We were blessed to have the team total of Tulane fly over yesterday. Yeah. We cashed that one first drive in the second half. 2 games tonight. South Florida at Tulsa. Tulsa opened up minus 12, now 14 straight across the Vegas Strip. And under over that opened up at 6.5, now 57.5. There is a 58 at DraftKings. And when I looked into the team totals, you had a Tulsa 35.5 over minus 120, and you had a South Florida 24.5 juiced under minus 125. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I flocked to something like that, because most people are going to go to the under in South Florida. They're going to get 24 or less. But what's disturbing to me is this. If you bet the over on South Florida of 24.5, most likely they're going to get to 27. Okay. So now do basic math. If they get to 27 and Tulsa's to cover this game, that means that Tulsa's going to have to get to at least 41.
Right.
And 27 is 68.
Right.
And the total started at 60 and is now 57. So these are what I call Jedi mind tricks here. And that's just breaking down one game of 150 today.
Right. Right. And I've told you this conference, for whatever reason, is my kryptonite, and I've just steered far away from it. But I totally see what you're saying, and the way and I even see on a couple of different books, the South Florida team totals dropping a little bit down to 22 in a couple different spots. So it's the mind tricks are all over the place with this one, and I maybe it's because I don't know, maybe it's because all the nights to not be as invested for the general public in college football, but this might not be the one that people are talking about and betting on a ton. I could be wrong. So typically that just makes it harder in a lot of different cases as far as people like us trying to break it down. So I don't know. Your guess is much better than mine as far as this game is concerned.
Another game, San Diego State at New Mexico. A number that opened at 14.5, and 14.5 is the consensus. 14 minus 115 at DraftKings. An under/over that opened at 39.5, now 36 for the consensus. There's a 36.5 at Westgate. I guess it's screaming under to me. They don't even think it's going to get to 37. I don't see Marshall Faulk suiting up for San Diego State today. They can't score on anyone. Yet my eyes are starting to wonder, is this going to be a 30-3 game? Is this going to be, again, Jedi mind tricks? 2 games right now that I'm sitting here dumbfounded saying, hey, you got college football on. Most likely I'm not going to be near either one of them.
Right, and I'm just looking at the team because I was trying to double check if there's a monsoon for that game or something, why it's in that low. I mean, New Mexico 11.5 team total plus 115 on the over. I mean, they've been let's see, offensively they've cracked 10 once in the last 4 games. Other than that, it's been single digits. So I don't know. I'm going to be steering clear from it, but it'll at least be interesting there for sure.
What do you have for a San Diego State team total?
Let's see. I've got 24.5 on DraftKings. 105 minus 105 to the over.
So Matt, they want you to take the under there. So 24 and to 7 to 9, even 10, it still doesn't go over. Wow. All right, enough on that. NBA. Let me give you the NBA slate. Go at it.
Sure. So let's start with you mentioned the Celtics this morning as far as being due for a clunker loss, whatever it is, and I if you're still thinking that way, I kind of agree. This Pelicans team is good, man. They're 9-6. They just handled my Bulls a couple times, and tough effort from the Bulls the second game the other day. But last Wednesday, the Pelicans really elevated themselves in the fourth quarter and looked really good. Zion is questionable, I think. I don't know if you've got an update on that or anybody's got an update on that. I think Marcus Smart is out of that one. Malcolm Brogdon, I think, is available. I don't know if that means he's in or starting, whatever that means, but go ahead.
Yep, Smart out. Active is Brogdon, and Zion questionable. Now, if all of a sudden during the show or later today, Zion is active, you'll see this go to a pick'em.
Right. And he was out the other day, so I kind of expect that to happen as far as him being in this game. But yeah, I'm interested in the Pelicans in this one. CJ McCollum himself, after a slow start, he this last week has kind of broken out of his shooting slump, and he's been shooting lights out the last few days. Don't know if that continues, but I'd be willing to bet yes. And without Marcus Smart, he could be if he's shooting well, that might be one of the reasons why the Pelicans win. If he's not shooting well, then maybe the Celtics keep things rolling. But with Marcus Smart out, I mean, and CJ McCollum, the way he's been shooting, that could be another nice night for CJ McCollum here tonight.
Yeah, and again, I don't like to get in front of freight trains, whether it's the Bruins, whether it's the Celtics who have won 8 in a row. This team is just rolling. And so I'm not telling anyone to run to the window to grab the Pelicans. It's a short number. I don't know if it's this short with the assumption that maybe Zion does play tonight, we're still waiting to hear that. I will guarantee you, if he is playing, it will go down to a pick 'em. My eyes and the way we read the market, for me, it's the Pelicans or nothing.
100%. I'm 100% with you, and I can even pull up. Let's see, I have DraftKings tracker here. 72% of bets, 67% of money on the Celtics spread there, and even let's see the money line almost identical actually as far as that is concerned. So I'm with you. That might be my favorite play out of the NBA tonight. I love it if Zion is playing. I like the matchup for him. Even if he's not, they're still a good team. Brandon Ingram is a tough matchup, one of the tougher matchups that the Celtics team could get, both ways, honestly. And like I said, CJ McCollum up against no Marcus Smart. Obviously, Malcolm Brogdon helps. But, yeah, I like the Pelicans tonight for sure. 100% on the Pelicans there. I'll go to my Bulls next. It's been ugly. I didn't get it. I'll take a second to kind of rant a little bit, not too much here, but Bulls minus 8.5 against the Magic. Paolo Banchero is out for the Magic. It looks like they've got a couple other questionables. But the Bulls finally, Patrick Williams questionable. He is playing. Kobe White has been out, who I'm not. I like Kobe White as a person, but not the biggest fan of Kobe White in general. But he is playing tonight, or at least active tonight. And so that leaves now just back to Lonzo Ball as the only outage for the Bulls here. So I think this is a good spot for a statement for the Bulls here, Jeff. Minus the 8.5. I didn't play the full game spread. I think this is a good time for them to take care of business. I went to the first quarter spread as far as the Bulls coming out really strong after not only a 1-5 stretch. And so when you see, it is a bad team, but I mean the perception of the Bulls right now is as low as it's been all season. Even Bulls fans are talking about our front office as being a massive disappointment, and I'm like, the Warriors are also 6-9, Philly's 7-7. Our front office was hired into their positions in April 2020 and inherited a dumpster fire. Like, pump the brakes a little bit. It's we don't have championship aspirations, but one little stretch isn't going to sink us for the entire season. So I've obviously not, like I said, I don't think this is a championship team, but the perception is as low as it's been right now. These last, like I said, 1-5 last 6 straight up. These last 2 have been fairly embarrassing. So I expect a big effort from top to bottom, and I think it starts in the first quarter. We've had some struggles in the first quarter, so I expect there to be an emphasis. Vucevic, DeRozan, Levine, their defensive efforts have been put into question, especially these last 2 nights. So I expect the starting core to come out really strong in this one. So I went with minus 2.5, and I think as long as you don't get it, as long as you're not seeing it minus 3.5, 2.5, 3. I like the Bulls in the first quarter to take care of business here tonight. And like I said, if I had to play the full game spread, I do like the Bulls, but wouldn't surprise me if it's a 7 to 10 point win for the Bulls, and that's more of a toss up. And I stayed away from any player props in case the Bulls end up blowing this team out and their starters only played 25 minutes. You know what I mean? So I like the first quarter spread for the Bulls tonight a lot.
And I like how you stated that, because I'm watching a lot of people on Gambling Twitter after they're grading, the ones that decide to grade their losses, which are not a lot of people. Someone just got called out on BetStamp. He showed his 2 winners, and he's doing cartwheels and duck boats and parades. And then someone came out and said, well, why don't you show your whole card where you went 1-8 the rest of the card? But the props, that was spot on what you just said, because people are grading these props as losses because the team's getting blown out. Therefore, this guy did not play the fourth quarter. Right. And I had over 19.5. He had 18, and the team was down 30, and therefore didn't play the fourth quarter.
Right. And when you have games like, if this game were, or maybe this game's not a bad example, and if you have a game that you expect to be close and it ends up not being, I can understand your frustration. But when you see a spread like this, or a game where it's reasonable to expect one team blows out the other, then at least stay away from the overs. You could even be enticed into taking some unders on a lot of these guys, especially the stars. But yeah, it's a good test of character for this Bulls team. They're a team that wants to win. They're a team that likes each other. So it's not like there's distractions or any rifts or anything like that in the locker room. I don't expect that. So I expect a good, hard effort, at least out of the gates, and I expect the full game. So I'm going all over the Bulls first quarter for this game. And like you said, I just ended my 6-game losing streak as far as the Bulls' best bet. Started 6-2, then had a 6-game losing streak, so got back in the win column the other day, which kind of felt gross. I had Zach LaVine's over, and he was terrible through 3 quarters, and then down by 25, lights it up in the fourth quarter to get the over, and the Bulls still lose by 15. But I digress. I'll move on. Miami and Washington, I'm staying far away from this one, Jeff. A lot of injuries for Miami in this one. I'll pull it up to get the most accurate one. I believe Jimmy Butler is out. Duncan Robinson is out. Tyler Hero, I don't know. I know I saw Bam Adebayo was unlikely. So, honestly, I am not touching it. I don't have, especially when it's that much of an injury situation here. Seems like with those guys out, maybe the Wizards should be a bigger favorite than they are. But I don't know. I'm staying far away from it. A lot of injuries, but if I had to make a play, which I would absolutely not, maybe this injured Heat team can stay within the 6.5. I don't know. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I was just looking at the injury report, or should I say the MASH unit. Butler out,
Yeah.
Bam doubtful, Khalid Martin is active, and Hero is out. The actual number was 1.5. Now it's shot to 6.5. It's already going to 7 at Chris. You got the core of them out. As you said, it should be higher. I think the public will be running to the Wizards, and then, it's a 219. The final score will probably be 110-108 or something stupid like that.
Yeah. Yep. And it wouldn't surprise me. I'm trying to look here. Maybe the public's not aware of what's going on with Miami. I don't know. I see 45% of bets on Washington's. This is on DraftKings Tracker. 45% of bets on Washington's spread and 65% of the handle there. So interesting there. I'm not sure what to make of it, but I'll steer clear away. The Action app usually does the projected starting lineup. They only have 4 guys listed, so I imagine they'll figure out a 5th guy to play there. But I'll steer clear of that one. Maybe the biggest. Go ahead.
They're trying to see if Dwayne Wade is available.
Yeah. Get Udonis Haslem turning back the clock 20, 30 years. Who knows? But one of the bigger games of the night, Milwaukee and Philly. Philly -1. Pulling up the injury report here. Giannis, I believe, is fine. Holiday is questionable. I think he's going to play. You got Pat Connaughton out, though, and so I don't think anything crazy for the Sixers there. I don't know. Were you surprised to see Philly favored in this one? I mean, Milwaukee 11-3, Philly 7-7. Is that an indication that maybe Philly's a good spot here, or is this kind of mind trick stuff right here?
It's mind tricks. Tobias Harris is questionable for Philly. Grayson Allen is probable. Holiday questionable. Middleton out. Connaughton out. Nothing on Giannis, so he's in. I think it's more betting on the come. The Philly team got me good last Thursday, I think it was. At Atlanta, nip and tuck through 3 quarters, and then Atlanta closed them out and won by 18. I'm staying far, far away as we speak right now. In a couple spots, it's dropped to 1. They're listening as I tell everyone here. For me, it would be Bucks or nothing. But would I be shocked if the 76ers win by 18? No, I wouldn't. It's just a game I don't need to get into. Yeah,
no, I'm 100% with you. I mean, Milwaukee's been kind of dipping a little bit, but they just get I think it was 2 days ago. Actually, let's double check. Yeah, 2 days ago, get a big win over Cleveland. And Philly, like you said, 3-1 in the last 4. But just when you think it is a good time to bet against Giannis and the Bucks, Giannis goes for 40, 12, and 11, and you're sitting there with a 15-point loss on your hands. So I will stay far away from it as well. I'll probably be watching it though. I hope it's a good one.
To all the D-gens out there that play in Howard and Wyoming, where Howard shockingly is up 38-32, Vegas giving us the insight that not only Wyoming comes back, but they come back to win. I'm seeing -8.5 at DraftKings. So anyone already into Wyoming or is looking to scratch an itch, I'll just say right now, Wyoming -8.5 is a solid play here. I don't assume anyone to go run to the window, but if someone needed to scratch an itch, Wyoming -8.5 second half. That would mean they got to win by 3 or more in the game itself.
Okay. Yeah, I was seeing the full game. -1.5, -128 on FanDuel right now for the full game. So yeah, I like what you're seeing there. Let's see. Where was I at here? Milwaukee, Charlotte, and Cleveland is the next one up. Let's double check the injury report here because LaMelo Ball, I believe he is out tonight. He came back. He's been playing okay, a little sporadic, still trying to ease him in, but he is out tonight. Hayward upgraded to questionable. So a few too many injuries here. Jared Allen questionable for the Cavs. Dean Wade doubtful for the Cavs. And the Cavs, after playing in the championship parade, I think they've lost 5 in a row now. So this one is you would expect them to have a bounce back here, much like kind of like my Bulls that I was talking about with them. It's a pretty similar story right with them, I would say here. So you would expect a bounce back from the Cavs, but I'll stay far away from it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was actually correlating the same too. Good job there. You would expect bounce back here, licking their chops, losers of 5 in a row. A game that's a 9.5 with a 220 or 221. Maybe they drug along early and I like your thoughts with the Bulls. Let's grab them in the first quarter, maybe grab them in the first half. I would expect the same thing on a razor sharp focused Cavalier team. I don't know what the first half number is. If Vegas is thinking the same thing, it should be around 6.
Yeah, let's see. The Bulls were 5.5. It's 5.5 here. Both Bulls and Cavs 5.5 in the first half there.
So again, that leads you to the, is it a 3 or a 5? It's a 9.5. I like to see a 6 or a 6.5 where they're giving you that push there. I still think the Cavs get it done. Maybe a first half play, a little sprinkle, minus the 5 and a hook.
All righty. I like that a lot there. OKC and Memphis, next one up. This one's kind of a tough one to call for me. Let me see what nothing crazy going on there, but 6.5, plus 6.5 for OKC at Memphis. If you haven't been paying attention, this OKC team 7-8. They are defying some of their tank projections there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I've been a huge fan of ever since he came in the league. I thought he was drastically underrated the last year or so. Now he's averaging 32 points a game right now. So he is probably on his way to an all-star season. Obviously, Memphis 9-6 has been very, very fairly consistent. I guess we had him potentially dropping the other one the other day. They lost to New Orleans that we talked about there. So I don't know. This one kind of feels like a statement as far as Memphis being favored by 6.5, but I don't know if the entire public has really bought into what's going on with the Thunder right now. So I'm going to stay away. On paper, it feels like the Thunder should be able to hang in, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Grizzlies won this one by 20-25, and it's you're seeing a dozen different highlights from Ja Morant in this one. I really don't know what to make of this one. 3.5 in the first half, so maybe the Thunder got a shot in this one. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What are your thoughts here? Uh-oh, we got a frozen Jeff.
That jumped out to me again. We've talked about OKC for a while here. I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to multitask, and the internet's not letting us do it. What jumped out to me again is I don't like to bite the hand that's feeding us. OKC's been pretty good to us. I looked at the number of 5.5 with a 233.5. It immediately went to 6. There are some 6.5s, but the total went to 230, which leads me to believe that they think Memphis and the under. I think this gets over 230. Anyone wants to shop around and get a 230? I like the over in this game.
I could definitely get behind that. Like I said, maybe OKC's fine. Well, the thing that, it feels like maybe they're baiting you to OKC. They've got 3 out of 4 wins here straight up. 5-point dog, they get an outright win against Toronto. 5-point dog, they get a win in New York. 12-point dog, they lose by 4. 5-point dog to Washington, they win. So now you're giving us 6.5. And again, it's a lot of people love this Grizzlies team, so I'm just staying far away from the spread at least. But I like what you're saying on the over. I could see a lot of points in this one. Maybe we see dueling highlights all night long from Ja and SGA in this one, and it's probably going to be a fun game to watch for sure. So maybe it'll find its way onto my TV here. So we'll breeze through these last few here. Indiana and Houston. Indiana 7-6 kind of defined some of their expectations. They were projected to be bottom 5-6 team. Chances are, if they decide to get rid of their Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, they'll probably fall into that. But Halliburton's been very solid this year, 20-point per game scorer. I think you and I talked about him earlier in the season as a player that not a lot of people talk about here. Houston 3-12. They've been okay covering games, so that's kind of what's keeping me away from it. This one feels like maybe it's a little too close, and maybe this is a decent spot for Houston, but I'm going to stay away from this one. Does this one feel like a Houston line to you?
Yeah, it does. Wednesday, Scotty was on and he released the Pacers. They were getting waxed early, and then they made a nice cover. They win the game outright. And today, looking at this, I think your eyes are spot on. I had a 4 with a 236.5. It's at 236.5 or 237. It's gone to 5. I think it's a Houston number, and probably this one lands in the 250s. Again, I don't like giving out 237s, but the way these two are going to play, I think it's, Elijah on one side and Rick Smits on the other side with Reggie Miller. I mean, I think this will be a shootout at the OK Corral.
Yeah, no, and I mean, Indiana's covering like crazy right now too, so you could, maybe expect them to be due for a clunker here, at least on the spread there. Maybe, maybe they win by 2-3. I don't know, but I think we're in agreement there. Denver and Dallas. Denver still got some COVID issues. I think both Jokic and Murray out in that one, so 9-point spread. Maybe you feel good about Dallas with the 9-point spread, but I'm not going to mess around with the injury news there. They just hung tight with the Knicks the other day, though. So, and Dallas is all over the place. So I'm far away from this one. Any thoughts from you here?
No, we do shows with Brady Tinker, and he's talking about the overweight lover named Luka Doncic, or whatever you want to call him, and just dribbles the air out of the ball and launches. And listen, I like him. I think he's great. He needs someone else, obviously. He does try to take over games. He is a little overweight. We do know that. But, no Joker. And Joker moved the line 6 points, the biggest out of anyone in the NBA, hands down.
Yep.
When he was out the other day, the number it shows he's out today at a 9. I don't trust Dallas as far as I could throw them.
No.
Do they win? Most likely they do. Do they cover the 9? Not with my money.
Yep. No, 100%. I'm moving on from that one. Phoenix and Utah. This one is in Utah. Utah 10-6. Phoenix 9-5. Utah 3 straight losses. Now a short spread here against Phoenix, who's been regressed a little bit after a nice start. They just won at home against Golden State a couple nights ago as underdogs. Now they come into Utah here. I don't know. Is this and looking at the injury report, I don't know if you've got any updates. I see Chris Paul questionable. Landry Shamet out. And Josh Okogie is questionable for Phoenix. Rudy Gay questionable for Utah there. So unless I've got some old information, that looks like the injury report for this game.
Again, now all of a sudden my board's lighting up as soon as we get to this game. They are listening, kid. I'm telling you, trust me, they're listening. It's a 1.5 fading towards going back to 1. Obviously, it's a Utah line, number 1. Number 2, can we say Chris Paul is Kawhi Leonard? I mean, are we to that point? I mean, the guy is just, listen, I know we need him for the playoffs, same as Booker, same as Aiden, but does this guy ever play? I'm asking.
I was just trying to check what I was going to say. It's not Kawhi. I will defend him a little bit and say he's not Kawhi Leonard, but what have they played? 15 games? He has played 10 of them, so through this part of the season, that is applause worthy, I would say. But I mean, still though, I'm 100% with you. Obviously you want him fresh, but you also want to win some games and get a good seed and have some home court advantage in this damn playoffs for the Suns. So, I don't know. It does feel like, or it is definitely a Utah line, as you said, and the public is all over Phoenix here. After 3 straight losses, maybe they bounce back. I'm going to stay away from it. I don't like it as much as some of these other ones. It wouldn't surprise me if Utah's now, finally turned back into what we expected of them. So that's why I'm going to stay far away from it. I've tried to go against the Suns a couple times, and they've smacked me in the mouth. So I'm going to stay away from it. But I'm 100. It's Utah or nothing for me, and it's probably going to be nothing for me right now.
100%. You know, I wouldn't mind calling up Stockton and Malone, get them in there, but it's definitely, we're waiting for the Tankerpalooza. This could be it. You know, the public might get gifted tonight with this one. How could you not play Phoenix? I get it, but it's a Utah number.
Yep, 100%. What about this next one here? Knicks and Warriors, 7.5. The Warriors 6-9, Knicks 8-7. Especially after this last one, the Warriors lose at Phoenix. You're starting to finally hear the narrative come out a little bit. What's going on with the Warriors? What's going on with the Warriors? So would you like to see this one more at home for the Warriors, or does this feel like a statement against a team that's, been solid enough here in the Knicks?
No, the Knicks are not as public as obviously Golden State. They're playing better ball. We don't know what this Golden team's going to bring us. Earlier this year, their 4 wins were all at home. They can just flip the switch and beat you by 30. They, again, still have that hangover from the NBA championship. And I brought this up on an LA show this week. I'll bring it up here. Very simply, that Draymond Green haymaker to Poole has really crushed the locker room. There's a lot of shit going on back there that not a lot of people are talking about. And you can see it in their play. Listen, they'll muscle through this through the rest of 2022. They'll get to 2023. They'll flip the switch. They'll hold hands, sing kumbaya. Everything will be okay. I think the number's pretty spot on. I think it lands on 9 or 7. How's that?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I mean, I think they're 6-1 straight up at home, so they're still, still taking care of business at home. But no, I agree. I think this one feels more spot on. And you know what? If this was a huge public side one way or another, it might entice me on here on our Friday shows here of going one way or another. But it doesn't seem like it's going crazy one way or another there. So. Moving on to the last NBA game of the night. I'm sure everyone is waiting to hear about this one. The Pistons and Lakers. Lakers favored by 7. 3-10 Lakers favored by 7. They just got the win over the Nets. They've had a nice few days of rest here. They haven't played since I think that's is that Monday no, not on Sunday. So they've got a nice chunk of rest here. Whereas the Pistons played last night, still here in LA. So they're still sleeping in LA for 2 nights. Lose by 5 to the Clippers last night. The injury report, I still see Cade Cunningham out. So that is tough news for the Pistons. And then I see LeBron James questionable. I don't know if you have any updates on that or anything, but I'm going to be staying far away from this one. But I certainly am not laying this many points with the Lakers against anybody right now.
LeBron questionable, Schroeder probable, Anthony was probable. And as we bring in Mr. Lucky, what I will say very simply is if I Venmo'd him $100 to bet on the Lakers, he'd Venmo me $200 back to take the missus out to lunch or dinner. So he's sitting there with one of these fine Cuban cigars that we got him from the Dominican Republic. Let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Lucky himself.
Hello, my friend.
Howdy.
How's it going?
I'm enjoying First of all, I have a few timeouts left, unlike Matt LaFleur. And, the pack ain't back. What can I tell you? People listen to Dawson. He's giving you out winners all week. Jeff, can I have 2 minutes to compliment you on something? Listen, folks, this is unscripted, okay? This is unscripted. Let me share something that Jeff Dawson said this week that should hit home to everybody. I'm very lucky that I have the forum here to talk about gambling, to talk about how you manage your money. We can share our thoughts. Everyone has 20 ways to make money in sports. But one of the things that Jeff said this week that really struck me as 100% on the money, and he said it very quickly, and he said it a few times, but he's trying to let everybody know, people, you don't have to bet every game. But what you have to do is, and I wrote it down, Jeff, whatever is working, stick with it. My friend, kudos to you. Because you're here for the people, you're here for your family, you're here for me, for all of us. Gambling it should be fun. I'm fortunate that I have a job. I sprinkle a lot of money lines, and I love betting the NFL. But the point is, it's not my life. It's not my wife, but it's my fun Disneyland adult time, if you will. But what Jeff told everyone is don't get out of your skin, okay? Do what you do best. NFL is what I do best. I dabble a little bit into college. I dabble a little bit into some of Dawson's alerts. I dabble into some of my own takes on basketball and football and what have you. So the point is, Jeff, I commend you because you're not out here telling people you have locks. You're not out here telling people put $1,000 in this game. It's the lock of the year. You're telling everyone to stick with whatever works. So kudos to you, my amigo. Kudos to you. And I appreciate you allowing
Thank you.
me because there's a lot of people out there, Jeff, that know you, that are your clients, that can't express themselves on Twitter like I can. So thank you, my friend, because it's
that was
so
the
true.
show. That was the show with Andrew McGiss, and thank you. Andrew was talking about props in the NHL. He was talking about shots on goal. He was talking about some other stuff, and there was so much to bet on. And for me, what we've done, and we've done very successfully this year, is we kind of have transitioned from sides to actually digging into the team total aspect of it because they're not as sharp, okay, as some numbers. Now you take a big slate, you take a headliner game, they got sides, they got over unders, okay, but then you break down the team totals, okay. Now, do they match up with the over under? And it's just like I like to say this, Mr. Lucky, is the NFL and the college football lines come out Sunday night and Monday morning. And it's like the carcass that you dropped off at the dump Monday morning. If you go back Sunday at 1 o'clock at kickoff time, there's going to be nothing left on that carcass. And so my point is that these are the lines that Vegas has released. By the time at 158 hours later, it gets to kickoff, there's nothing left on the bone. So as sharp as we think we are, and we have an edge or have a favorite team, or we know the weather report, or whatever the reason why you went to the window, it doesn't really matter sometimes because there really truly is no edge. So if I get $1 million on Sunday on the Bills and I get $1 million on Cleveland, okay, the only real winner is the book because they made their 100,000 on the juice.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, Jeff, and I mentioned this before, I seldom have 5 plays in the NFL on a Sunday, but I have 5 this year because I am embracing the Circa contest, and I'm embracing analyzing each game. I have 2 very good friends. We disagree, we agree. We try and do a system here. Um, Win, lose, or draw, we love it. I mean, listen, if you said to me the Dallas Cowboys would be 190, let me repeat this 5 times 195-0, 195-0, 195-0, leading in the fourth quarter by 2 touchdowns in their history. They are older than yours truly. I would tell you the answer to that, okay? Now, were they the right side? No. We talked about it on the show. My brethren, that was one of their best bets. We tend to go with each other's best bets. Now, at the end of the day, who cashed? Everyone that was on Twitter, everyone that was out here in La La Land, everyone that was out there gambling, whatever, they cashed on the Green Bay Packers. That was the right side, probably the wrong result. But the point is that's gambling. That's the fun of this. What I try and advise everyone is Don't bet 5 games unless you love 5 games, unless you believe in your system, unless you believe in the spot. This week I like 3 games. I've got to pick 5. I'm not going to agree with 5. Okay. You got Carolina, Baltimore. Thanks for playing. Okay. Lamar Jackson owns the NFC. You got Baker Mayfield, who probably is playing for a job. I have no idea. You've got the Carolina Panthers, who, if the opponent scores 17 points or more, are 1-30 straight up. Jeff Dawson knows, his lovely daughters know, that the Ravens are not going to lay an egg off a bye. Okay? But are they going to cover 13? Thanks for playing. I don't care. Okay? There's going to be a million people on Sunday. They're going to go to the window, going to press their play, going to do whatever they want, and they're going to play that game. And I hope they all win. But my point is, that's not a game I like. So it doesn't mean I have to play it. If that was the only game on the board on Sunday, I don't have to play it. I can go out and enjoy my Cuban cigar or have a few drinks or have fun with the family. And that's what Jeff tries to say in all these, wonderful shows of his. You don't always have to play just to play. So what I do, I pick games, there's 13 games this week. I've got to pick 5 for Circa. I like 3. I personally have bet this year in the NFL 18 games out of my pocketbook. 18 games. So what is that a week? Is that 2 a week? Not even 2 a week. So the point is, I don't win all of them, but if I told you my record, they'd be calling me today and saying, do you want to do an 800 number, Mr. Lucky? And my reply is no, unless Jeff Dawson's involved. Okay? So the point is, you have to pick your spots. Let me share a few little things with you this week. Okay? How do I pick 5 games I like or 3 games I like? Okay, you've got Carolina and Baltimore. Thanks for playing. Let me quote Jeff Dawson. Baltimore's going to win the game, but will they cover by 13.5? I don't know. Okay, you've got the Browns and the Bills. That's going to Detroit. Listen, the Buffalo Bills can kiss my you-know-what. Okay, that was my best play last week in the Circa. Now, I will tell you this. Jeff is smiling and laughing, and I'm going to tell you this. I based that play on Josh Allen not playing. The minute I heard, Riley and Jeff, that it was official, he was playing, I knew we were dead on the line. For 2 reasons, okay? I believe that the team that's going to win the game covers. That's one of my handicapping points. What is most likely to happen, okay? I also like when the better record is getting points. So you had a case. Listen, the Minnesota Vikings are probably the luckiest team in the history of football to many people. The bottom line is they keep winning close games. You and I know that was the catch of the year, but all the Buffalo Bill cornerbacks got to do is just bat it down. That's what you're taught in practice. Just bat the damn ball down, sir. But he didn't do that. Thanks for playing. Okay. So the point is, you can't. You're going to need luck. You're going to get backdoored, and you just got to move on. The Detroit Lions, who were, by the way, Riley, good pick. That was the other compadre's best bet. The last time the Detroit Lions won a road game on the road, down 14 in the fourth quarter. Would you like to know what year that was?
93.
No, Alex Karras was not playing. 1993. So again, were we on the right side? I think we were. Probably right side there. Bad result. You just got. Listen, Jeff. You know this better than I do because this is your life, right? I was pissed off for 2 days last Sunday. We were 3 plays away from a 5-0 week. We lost ground in Circa. It doesn't matter. I embrace it. I embrace 5 games this week. I believe we're going to go 5-0 every week. Okay, move on. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles. As I said on the show, by the way, I like the Commanders for the simple reason you knew they were going to have a bad game. You have a division game. You know what Heineke is? His last 11 starts against the spread. He's 8-2-1. He's been money. I thought it was too many points. I think Philly now is going to the Colts. The line is being moved down. I think it opened at 9. Now it's 6.5 or 6. That's an interesting game because you have Jeff Saturday off a win against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Colts are worthy of a look there, perhaps, Jeff and Riley. They run the ball well. The Eagles can't stop the run. The Colts are one of these teams. They've been me a couple times this year on the Circa, but they are actually, I think, better than maybe their record. They've been in a lot of games. I don't trust Matt Ryan, but I think there's a little momentum there with Saturday. A lot of times these teams that go 8-0 or 9-0 and lose, they have 2 or 3 stinkers. So I would look at the Colts there. To me, that would be my play. You've got Washington and Houston. Houston couldn't beat Jeff Dawson and the 5 Amigos and Cape Cod. I mean, Houston is horrible. They can't stop anybody. Heineke's playing well. I mean, they're 3.5. The hook. That's the game I don't like. Because the old Captain Hook might come into play there. This is the Jets' Super Bowl, perhaps. New England is off a bye. The Jets are off a bye. This year, Riley, in the NFL, you can go. I like to play trends, but I also like to look at season trends. Jeff and Riley, home teams off a bye this year. 9-1 straight up. There's been 1 loss. The Rams lost. Well, the Rams lose to everybody. They lost to the 49ers here. You've got New England laying, I think it's 3.5, right, Jeff? You've got the Jets.
Yes.
4-0 on the road against the spread. They have the better defense, in my opinion. They don't have the better quarterback, but that's not saying much either because I'm not sure Mac's playing well. You know what Belichick is at home off a bye?
Pretty damn good.
He's really good. But you know what he is off a bye against the spread at home? Would you believe 1-10-1?
Probably not as good, right?
1-10-1.
What is it?
1-10-1. So the point to me is, when I look at that game, is you have the Jets that are 6-3. Jeff said to me about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was right, that this was a Super Bowl. This was a season for the Patriots. Okay, that was one play away from a 17-3, I believe, Jet lead. Don't matter. Bottom line is, the best quarterback in the field was for the Patriots was Wilson. I mean, he was awful in that game. Do the Jets come back and make it a game this week? I do. I think so. I think that game might be a 1-score game. I will lean the Jets if it's a hook. You got the Lions and the Giants. I mean, the Giants can't win by margin. They win 1 more game, Jeff. Guess what I'm collecting? A few more of these, my friend.
You and me both.
You too. Good call. That game is a stay-away game for me. I don't trust Goff. He is 10-1 on the road. Thanks, Jared Goff. Your 1 win was last week. The Giants, here's a good one for you, Jeff. The last 17 home games, guess how many unders? Now, of course, here's what will happen after this stat. Guess how many unders the Giants have had their last 17 games at home? Jeff froze. Riley, 16.
Ooh, yeah.
So
I know last year was bad.
If Dawson and I go to the window on Sunday and him and I love totals, that'll probably go over. But it is for the people out there. Okay, that's a nice trend for the people. Jeff's probably thinking, I'm not touching that because you know it'll go over. Um, you've got the you've got the toilet bowl, by the way. You know which game that is, right? Well, there's actually two candidates, but I believe it's this one. It's the Rams and the Saints. By the way, Jeff, locals have already confirmed. Looks like Stafford will play. Who cares? I mean, when did I say the Rams were dead? 3 weeks ago? They're dead. I mean, much to my anxiety last week, Riley, Mr. Jeff Dawson sent on an alert, and you know, Jeff Dawson's my younger brother. I had a play on the Steelers. I love the Steelers last week. And Jeff Dawson sends out an alert, Riley Magnuson. And I looked at it, and somebody said to me, "What's wrong?" I said, "Ugh, I'm against Jeff. I hate being against Jeff on Sunday." Jeff, your New Orleans Saints can't figure out that Dalton is not the answer. Please start Jameis Winston, Jeff Dawson. I mean, that's a stay away game, Jeff.
My release on the my release on the Saints was predicated on the flip. I wasn't buying the flip. I knew Tomlin was coming off the bye, and basically I just was like stiff arming it, and I knew right away I was on the wrong side. There's something going on behind the scenes, and that's why Dalton is starting and Jameis is not playing. I thought they were going to release Jameis last year. They stuck with him. Haven't seen a lot of Taysom Hill lately either, which leads me to believe it's the Saints in Tankapalooza.
Yeah, I actually like the Rams in that game, and that's not saying much. All right, Riley, here we go, because I know the brethren's going to call me in 2 hours and tell me they like the Bears. Please convince me to take the Bears at Atlanta when Atlanta hasn't covered. A little angle I like to use late in the year, by the way, Jeff Dawson. I like to look at teams. There you go, folks. Look at the standings, people, and then look at the against the spread standings. Jeff Dawson, if I told you the Tennessee Titans had covered 7 straight weeks, what would you have told me about that game against the Packers? Because the Pack ain't back, Riley. It's time to pass.
Get in front of the
Exactly, my friend. That's what people tend to not realize. Sometimes this is as simple as going to the standings. Look, the Atlanta Falcons, Riley Magnuson, were 6-0 against the spread. I didn't go to one of their parties. In fact, I went to one and I lost. I took the Cleveland Browns in week 3 or 4 on the road. Jeff liked Cleveland. Every sharp liked Cleveland. Thanks for playing. Mariota looked like, him in Oregon when he was at Oregon in that week. I'm not taking Atlanta. They haven't covered in 4 straight games. So they're a fade team. So that's the game I look at and say, it's the Bears or pass. Remember how I've told you folks this year, look at teams that lose at home. Okay, the Bears are in that category. They lost at home as the Bears as a favorite at home. I don't buy it. They were 12-6. What happens last week? Thanks for playing. Okay, you've got the Vegas Las Vegas Raiders. They've lost 3 in a row against the spread. You've got the Buffalo Bills. They've lost 3 in a row against the spread. You've got the New Orleans Saints. They've lost 2 against the spread. You've got the Eagles. They've lost 2 against the spread. You've got the Titans that won 7, now 8 against the spread. Okay. You've got the Chargers that have won 2. You've got the Lions that have won 2. My point, you've got the Chargers against the Chiefs on Sunday night. To me, that's the Chargers or pass. Mahomes doesn't cover very well on the road as a 3-point favorite or higher. So the point I'm making is sometimes you look at the standings. You don't, Jeff has a great line, a saying, and he says this to me a little bit on the contest. He'll say, Mr. Lucky, Lewis, he'll say, think long, think wrong. So what I try and do, Riley, is I'll look at the against the spread trends. I'm not playing Atlanta. They haven't covered 4 straight weeks. It's not even overanalyzing. I don't even get into the details that Josh, that the Falcons are probably a 5 or 6 win team this year. So a lot of times I'll look at that and figure out who's hot, what's the spot, who's the better team, is the better record getting points. Okay, it's not always going to hit. Who has a better record, the Vikings or the Cowboys?
The Vikings.
Okay, who do the Vikings have to? What do the Vikings have to worry about in the NFC North? That's over with, right? Who's the desperate
They have
team?
something new to worry about.
Yeah.
Hold on. They have something new to worry about. Do you know what that is?
No,
You're going to laugh when I say this.
I should know the answer, but hit me with it.
The number 1 seed.
Yeah, it's true.
They're tied with Philly, and obviously Philly owns a tiebreaker because they beat them. And I'm going to go all the way back to 30 minutes ago. This is the NFL in a nutshell. Vegas could not have been happier that Dallas blew the 195-0 and lost that game. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because the whole world was on Green Bay last night. Because Rodgers and the Packers were back. It didn't matter that Tennessee was 7-0 against the number their last 7. It didn't matter Henry was coming in town. It didn't matter that they're number 2 against the run. All that mattered was Rodgers and the Packers were back. Period. End of discussion.
Amen. 100%. 100%. So, I mean, you dissect all these games, the Dallas game is fascinating for me for this reason. I've already got a text this morning from one of the amigos. They like Dallas. Colin Cowherd. Hey, Colin, how you doing, buddy? Colin likes Dallas. Chico Escuela down the street likes Dallas. Vinny down the street likes Dallas. Henry up in Cape Cod likes Dallas. Giovanni from The Sopranos likes Dallas. You know why they like Dallas, Riley? Because they lost last week. Because they're America's team. Because the, fraudulent Minnesota Vikings, who, by the way, I am 1-2 with this year in the Circa. They're fraudulent. They shouldn't be 7-1, 8-1. They're at home. Can Dallas stop the run? Does anybody know who's on the other side of the Minnesota Vikings, who that running back is? Does anybody know who that wide receiver is? Not named Randy Moss or Lance Allworth or Jerry Rice?
Or Chris Carter?
I'm going to tell you right now, my friends, for this better, for Senor Mr. Lucky, it's the Vikings are past. I'm not going against a team that's 8-1. Minnesotans, and Jeff, you know this. Riley, you know this too. They can't stand Dallas. I mean, other than the Green Bay Packers, I think when Dallas comes to town, I mean, these people are licking their chops like Pavlov's dog. Kirk Cousins, this is in prime time. Now, if it was if Zimmer were the coach of the Minnesota Vikings, listen, I'll Venmo Dawson $300 and tell him to take Dallas. I don't see it any other way. Personally.
Here's something that you have to look at this point of view as well. Both Dallas and Minnesota play on Thanksgiving Day. So Dallas hosts the Giants, and on prime time at 8:20, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings host the Patriots. So I will also say this. I would not be shocked if the Vikings do lose on Sunday I can see the Pats going in there in a short week on Thanksgiving Day and also beating the Vikings. And the Vikings have opened up 3.5-point favorites next Thursday as well.
Could happen. If it happens, I'll send you these 2 cigars back to Cape Cod Friday morning when I'm heading down to San Diego.
No, I got a few of those left.
Let me give you some stats. Are you taking the Raiders this week? You know what the Raiders are this year on the road? No, I'm not taking the Raiders. They haven't won. Now, David Carr, hey, David, let me get the Kleenex out for you, buddy. Hey, all due respect, that guy's a gamer. This will be his last year with the Raiders. Dawson knows that. Everybody knows that. He's 9-1 against Denver. So just based on that contradiction, it's a stay away game for me. You got Tomlin. He is 16. Jeff, Mike Tomlin is 16-3 as a home dog. He is 5-0 versus the AFC North. You have the Cincinnati Bengals without their go-to guy, Jamar Chase. I don't think he's back.
No, he's still.
They're off a bye. You know where I'm leaning, my friends. You've got the you've got Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football. How do you guys see that game?
Well, believe it or not, don't fall off your stool. Either one of you, Keenan Allen and Big Mike have been practicing the last 3 days. So imagine that. I know. A Charger team that has not been doing well. Patrick Mahomes' team that is breathing a lot easier with the demise of the Bills the last 2 weeks. Patrick Mahomes kind of sort of getting back into that MVP chase. I expect the Chiefs to win. Do I expect them to cover? It's a primetime game. You know, backdoor little Joe, Big Mike, Keenan Allen just miraculously waited 9 weeks to come back, whatever it is. So I know your numbers say, listen, I think the whole world will be on the over, and it's at a 51, and the final score is 28-24. Actually, no, let me do better math than that. The final score is probably 27-23, and it stays under. How's that sound?
I think I agree.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And you know, a lot of these games have gone under. I play if I don't play an under, I don't play a total. I just don't. I'm one of those. You know, I like the under. I mean, what you've got a Ram team that can't score. You've got a Saints team that can't score. I mean, what, 1st to 13 wins that game? That's probably an under. That's it for me on stats. We're looking at 3 games. I'm going to give you a couple games if you want Mr. Lucky's magic wand here to give you 3. I'm going to give you my upset special for the week. I believe the Colts cover against the Eagles. What is that now, Jeff? Is that 6.5 or 7 across the board?
6 and a hook. 6 and a hook.
Yeah, I like the Colts. I like the Colts to cover there. I think the Ravens can probably call their number against the Panthers. I mean, if you're going to have a 40-10 game this week, I'll go out on a limb. It'll be Buffalo or it'll be Baltimore. I think Buffalo might roll Cleveland. I mean, Stefanski's got what, 1 foot out the door? I have no idea, Jeff, on our 49ers in Mexico. I mean, I don't know. Is Murray playing? It's a lot of points. It's 8 points. So
no, the numbers set at 8. That's no Murray line. I think Marquise Brown did try to practice a couple days. I don't know if he's back. This 49er team, what I noticed about them last Sunday or Monday, whenever the hell they played, I don't think that Shanahan has a full understanding on how to use all his toys now. In other words, you saw them first and goal on the 7. He didn't know whether to give it to Mitchell, to CMC, to Debo, to Kittle, and you could see that. And the shocker was Mitchell coming off the IR had 19 touches, 18 rushes, and 1 catch. And I know the thought process, hey, we're going to save CMC, make sure he's healthy and ready for the playoff run. And again, I said it as soon as they made the CMC trade, and I actually said it before, and I'll say it again here. The team bred most to come out of the NFC is the 49ers. Now, Tom and company have won 2 in a row. They're back. He's on a bye. Well, we'll see what happens. God bless. I've been there. Shanahan has been there. I'll take my chances with CMC, with Elijah Mitchell's, with Kittle, with Debo, and a defense that is getting healthier. And they have won on the road before in the playoffs, and they'll win again on the road.
The one thing about the 49ers that I'm not, I agree. I still like them in January, but they've got to get healthy defensively, obviously. But Jeff, they're not efficient in the red zone. I mean, so many times they have gone into the red zone and they just get field goals. Hey, real quick, did you guys know that if the Jets win on Sunday, they're in first place in the AFC East? I think I'm right on that, right, Jeff? I think they're in first
Dolphins
place.
are on a bye, right?
Yeah, Dolphins are a bye, right?
And the Bills haven't won a conference a division game yet either.
No. I mean I think something is wrong with Josh Allen, Jeff. I mean the mistakes he's making. That was absolutely awful last week. Run the damn ball when you have the lead, McDermott. Run the damn ball.
I'll give you a homework.
Yeah.
I'll give you a homework assignment for next Wednesday because we're going to come on Wednesday with you because of the holiday and your travel schedule. I'll give you a homework assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Buffalo the last couple years that Allen has been quarterback. They have had this hiccup with 2 and 3 games in this same stretch every year. And now they're set up to go 7-1 to end the year. My thought process is they don't have a consistent running game. They don't know. They don't have a bell cow, number one. Number two, Josh has gotten to that elite level where, like a John Elway, where he can throw it through anything, and he knows that. He can run like the wind. He's got Stephon Diggs. He's got Gabe Davis. He's got Knox. Okay? He's got all these weapons. He doesn't feel threatened. So his mistakes the last 2 weeks in the red zone, especially 8 or 9 turnovers, it's been ridiculous. And that Gabe Davis interception was his 4th read. What are you thinking there? You still get the field goal, you tie it, you move on, whatever it is. So the fact of the matter is, will they be the number 1 seed? I don't know right now. They still might not even win the division. I think when the dust settles and they remove the 6 feet of snow in Buffalo, that come January, you're still going to have to go through Buffalo. I'm not going to get off of them. I still think they're the best team. Can Mahomes beat them? 100%. Can a rejuvenated Ravens team beat them? They had them beat a couple years ago, and Lamar fumbled. Okay, I think they can, but I doubt it. I still think it's the Bills. And on this show right now at 4:57 on 11/18/2022, I'm calling Bills and 49ers, and I'm going to stick to it.
You know, it's first of all, I don't think you're wrong. But wouldn't it be fabulous if it's the Bills and the Vikings? Wouldn't that be fantastic? Yeah. What would happen? Riley Magnuson knows there's a little joke in there. What would happen, Riley Magnuson, if it's the Vikings and the Bills?
Somebody's getting their 5th Super Bowl loss. That's the
that's right. And somebody's getting their first Super Bowl win, Mr. Dawson. When you were out partying in your little cruise, I told Riley Magnuson, and I'm going on record, I told Riley, I think the Chiefs beat the Bills if they meet again.
I can see it. I can definitely see it. They brought
One
over
reason, Jeff,
Kadarius
one
Toney,
reason
which
only.
now looks.
Sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry. I think we got a delay. One reason only. I am doubting the Bills winning a close game.
Well, you got to give the edge to Reed over McDermott. I mean, that's number one. Number two, the Kadarius Toney move is huge right now. Juju's not playing because of the concussion. Hardman looks like he's out. They got to figure out what they're going to do with the running game. Pacheco, CEH, McKinnon has looked real good. I think if you got to go through Kansas City, it's going to be real tough. I don't think Mahomes is getting enough credit because of what's going on in the rest of the NFL, and it's perfect for him. He's just flying right under the radar.
Yeah, and he's the MVP right now. Hey, timeout. Hold on, excuse me. I have a timeout, unlike our buddy Matt LaFleur, which we won't even get into. That was ridiculous. That was horrible coaching. I've got a timeout. I have to ask because you guys are my compadres. Riley Magnuson, I'm not going to hold you to it. Your best play this Sunday in the NFL for the Circa people. For Mr. Lucky and company, what is Riley, Chicago's finest, top play?
You're not going to like it, Mr. Lucky. I disagree with you about the Bears and Falcons. There's about 90. If you can find a single person that's taken the Falcons this week, I will be very surprised because I see 90% of bets and money on the money line and spread of the Chicago Bears. And I think Atlanta is going to be able to run all over them for the entire game, Mariota,
Sure.
and maybe vice versa. Maybe it's similar, and the Bears can get up. And I'm not. It's not like last week where I'm all over the lines. I don't have a play right now. But I'm actually going Atlanta or nothing as far as that game. So I'm a little bit opposition on you, 100% there. But the Bears defense is a dumpster fire, and I think Atlanta is going to bounce back with a nice rushing attack in that game.
Bears are the first team in the history of the NFL to score 29 points in consecutive weeks and lose all three. Jeff Dawson, I wasn't born in 1946, but here's what I'll tell you. Your Denver Broncos could become the first team, this is incredible, since the 1946 Steelers to be number one in points allowed defensively and number one in least points offensively. So they have a good defense. They just can't score. Jeff, what's your best pick?
You're not going to like it.
I'm not going to like it. Okay.
The reason is because we have told you very nicely to stay away from two teams this year. That's the Raiders and the Niners. But if you read through the tea leaves here, you remember what happened last week with a 49er team that won and didn't cover. They had 6 swings to cover that game, and everyone that had the Chargers were happy. But read through the tea leaves. They're going to Mexico. The line is 8. There's no Kyler Murray. It's a team that has a coach that's got 1 foot out. It's a team that is the locker room doesn't want Murray back. His best player, who came back after 6 weeks, is carrying them, and they're barking at each other. Okay, I think that this is 49ers left, right, middle, quarterback sneak early and often, and I'll be shocked, and I use the word shocked, if this team doesn't win by 13 or more. I think it's a box-to-wire route. Shanahan, another week to get CMC involved, to get that defense healthier. I think this is a route from the jumpstart.
I hope you're right. I mean, they have been a thorn on our side this year. We had them on Sunday at the contest. That's it, gentlemen. So, Jeff, we are good for Wednesday?
Yes, same time, same bat station.
Okay. Hey, Riley, UCLA tonight by 3.
I can't bet on it, so if I could bet on it, I'd take Illinois plus the 3.5. But we can't bet on it in Illinois here. But give me Illinois by 3. So yeah, there you go.
TCU wins Saturday, or They don't win, Jeff Dawson.
I think we've been waiting for some wheels to fall off. I'll go on record right now, subject to change after I wake up in the morning. I think Baylor beats TCU, and I'll think UCLA beats USC. So that now gets in a potential two conferences in the Final Four. That gets you Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Tennessee.
Gentlemen, Riley, you're the man. Jeffrey Dawson, muchas gracias. And let's hope that I go 5-0, and then I'll have a lot to be thankful for next week. We have a lot to be thankful for. Hey, to everybody out there, listen to Jeff Dawson. The man is class act. He's a man of the people. He works his butt off. Jeff, I got to tell you, I love the new intro. I feel like I'm watching a Saturday Night Live episode. I mean, I don't know if you got the idea from watching the promos of Saturday Night Live, but it is fantastic. I love it.
Thank you so much,
Lucky,
Mr. Lucky. Listen,
Sorry, before you, were you talking about UCLA football or basketball? Because Illinois and UCLA. So if you're talking about UCLA,
basketball,
you are talking about basketball.
Yeah,
okay.
and I disagree with Jeff on the football. I think Lincoln Riley beats Chip Kelly. All due respect.
Well, we want to keep the Pac-12 dream alive. Same with the Big 12, but we haven't had that train crash. So, if Ohio State are to lose this week, they'll get a real crash coming because they meet next week in the at Ohio State. So have a great weekend. Behave yourself. Give the family hugs from the guys in the back east, and we'll see you on Wednesday this time.
Okay, Riley, if I don't see you, have a happy Thanksgiving. Jeff, I'll talk to you next week, and we'll chat this week on DM or on some texting. Okay, my friend?
All right. Have a great weekend, Mr.
Take
Lucky.
care. Thanks for having me over. Bye-bye.
See you.
The one and only Mr. Lucky. The internet, I'm telling you, is a little sketchy. Temple out to a fast start, 5-2 as we speak. And going back and forth there, Riley, live line might be in the middle of the way. Wyoming 65, Howard 64. So your live line of 1.5 is right there.
67. My app updated to 67 here. I'm trying to pop it up on my TV here. I had in the background UMass, I think, got a buzzer-beating or close to buzzer-beating win over whoever the hell they were playing. I already lost that one. But, yeah, Wyoming by 3 with 45 seconds left in or now they're – I don't know how much time is left. Maybe – I'm sorry. I think they're in a timeout. The TV clock is messed up, and it's going down to 35 seconds and counting, but they're in a timeout, so there might be a lot more time left. But – looks like you've got a live sweat, but you're in okay shape, better than you were at halftime, and looks like you might be spot on there.
Who's up right now? Wyoming by 3?
Wyoming by 3. I think my app says 2 minutes and 16 seconds left. I just pulled it up on my TV, and they're in a timeout, and that must be the timeout clock because it's going 10 seconds and counting and flying down. So I think that's wrong, but. Wyoming, Georgetown underway. They're up by 5 on is that Loyola Marymount or someone else? I'm not sure. Let's see. What was the opening line on that game? 3.5, 4.5. Was that were you interested in fading any Georgetown action, or is that maybe an overreaction to Georgetown?
I've been, last year we tried when they were losing by 18 and 16 as 10, 12-point favorites. We were trying to catch them on the right time, and we just never got it. Big Ewing fan, big fan of the Hoyas. I don't have a good read on them, so Vegas is trying to find the temperature as well, and I'm trying to find the game as we scroll. I tell you, I love this new site. There's 28,000 props that I have to get through to get to our games here. I'm just trying to see here. 136 left, Wyoming 69-66. Getting to your Georgetown game. Let me see if I can pull that one up for you.
Yeah, I didn't have anything on it. I was just curious. We talked about Georgetown the other day. I was just curious if you had any previous thoughts on that one.
It was a 3 with a 152. They got steamed to a 4, 4.5. Initial thought process would be a Marymount number. The total from 152 to a 155. High scoring game. Now it's 26-23. I think this is pretty spot on. I expect Georgetown to win. Wouldn't be shocked if Loyola covered. How's that sound?
That sounds good to me. How about Xavier, Indiana? I'm seeing a move the opposite way. 1.5, 2 on is going the opposite way towards closer to a pick 'em. I'm not sure. I think it's an hour until tip off, less than an hour until tip off. So I don't know. I've got a little swing at Xavier after what we were talking about. So I was hoping to get the move to 3. I went ahead and caught him at 2.5 because it wasn't going anywhere. But yeah, now down to 1.5 and 2.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why. It's because Kobe Jones is active with an ankle. I still like the side of Xavier. Anyone that wants to go run to the window, play Indiana money line, I have zero problem with that. I think it's going to be one of the better games of the night. I like the moxie of this Xavier Musketeer team. I have for a while. I'm telling you what, you don't want to go to their place and play. That crowd is electric. I know they're playing. Oh, actually, is it at Xavier?
I think so. Yeah, unless I'm just not sure what their court name is, but I think it was in Ohio. So unless it's a weird neutral site close by, I'm pretty sure it's at Xavier. Let's double check here.
So
but I think it's at Xavier, and that place is awesome, man.
That's a lot of respect to Indiana. I go back a handful of years ago, and Villanova came in highly, highly, highly touted. And I don't step on the gas. I call it stepping on the gas. A full unit goes to 1.5 units. And we had the Musketeers +2 against Villanova. Villanova came in on this huge winning streak. And at halftime, Xavier was up by 20, and they just boxed the wire. But hats off to Indiana. Vegas probably knows something. I mean, for them to come in favored at Xavier, hats off.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we talked about this one. Another one of as far as the top 25 matchups, the ones people are going to be watching at least. And I don't have any crazy thoughts on this one, but just curious what you were thinking. Virginia and Baylor. Let's see. Baylor 4.5, 5-point favorites, 129.5. I now see it was 130.5. This is your typical Virginia, slow the tempo way the hell down, play some defense, but Baylor can play some defense too. I lean towards Virginia keeping this one a close and ugly game, and maybe the under as well, but it wouldn't surprise me if Baylor, if Baylor took care of business and their defense looked fantastic. I don't know. What were you thinking with this one?
I usually get egg on my face. My first instinct was, holy shit, Virginia, who's got a good team this year, is you're going to give me 5 points? Are you kidding me? I did a little more research. And because we know a Virginia game is like a Wisconsin game. You're looking for those under-overs at around 115, 117, 118. Then when you start to see a 130, then you're like, oh, what's going on here? Let me give you something. The Bible number is Baylor -3, so now it's inflated to 5. How about if I told you the under-over Bible number was 136?
Wow.
And so I'm going to go on record here at DraftKings right now, 129.5. I like the over 129.5. And I'll just go over to see what our buddy Mr. Ken Palm has here. Number 1 rated game, Virginia number 6, Baylor number 5. He's got it 69-68. So that's 137 and Baylor. So hop on your apps, get over 129.5. That's what my eyes are seeing.
I like it. I took a tiny little pizza and beer money swing on the Virginia and the points. Another one where I was almost thinking about the money line, then I was like, you know what? These Virginia games, that's one team where I could feel comfortable saying it would not surprise me if they lose by 2-3 points, and it's like you said, 69-68 or something like that. So stuck with that one. What was there was another game or two. Kansas is a huge public side again against Southern Utah. Would you be interested in a 20? Let me double check the current line. into a fade spot of Kansas 21.5.
Well, I'll give you the tip here. Go and take a look and tell me. Okay, the Bible says 20 and a hook and 148 and a half. It's up to 153. That's what happens to Kansas numbers. 21 and a half. I'll tell you what Vegas is probably thinking. You should have a 13 and a half or even a 14 first half number.
Let's see. 12.5, 13.5.
We talked about if you were going to play Kansas today in these spots, you play them in the first half. They get up by 20. They let the kids play the second half. What's Kansas's record right now?
They're 3-0. They've
Okay.
played. Yeah, they got the win over Duke, and then before that, it was the North Dakota State, and then Nebraska Omaha before that.
And the reason I ask is I think Bill Self, self-imposed 5-game to start the year. So this is game number 4. They haven't missed a beat, obviously. It's not as big as number as I thought. So I'll just call me crazy here, especially coming off the big win against Duke. I would lean the dog here. I think, it's a perfect letdown spot. Now Kansas wins by 40. Don't come running to me. But again, the numbers trying to entice you to come play Kansas. It's Friday night, guys. It's payday. It's fade the public. These numbers are set to entice you. A kid in a candy store. Oh, my God, they just beat Duke. Did you see that? And they only got to win by 21 against, Helen Keller School of the Blind. Come on now.
Hey, Southern Utah, man. I'm 100% with you. I am interested in Southern Utah. They are, I lost them here. They're inside at least the top 200. They're more highly rated than the team North Dakota State that they played. Let's see, where did they have them at? 167 on KenPom, 72nd in tempo. So I was interested in Southern Utah, but yeah, like you said, don't. It wouldn't surprise me if Kansas still ended up winning by 40. So don't come to me otherwise. But yeah, no, it was. If we're talking fade the public Friday, though, I was seeing like 90% of people all over Kansas. So if that's the way you're playing Fridays, then Southern Utah is the side to look at for sure there.
I guess I'll ask you one question here. You look at a couple of the smaller schools. Surprisingly, Davidson, 2-point favorites against South Carolina. That which is a little eye opener to me. I know South Carolina is not, the SEC darlings. KenPom has it 71-69 South Carolina winning, yet Davidson is a 2-point favorite there. And the other one, Charlotte and Tulsa. We talked about Tulsa and their 20-point victory against Chicago, Illinois last night. Yet Charlotte is 2.5-point favorites here. And I look at KenPom and they got 70-69 Charlotte. Charlotte 142, Tulsa 144. Tulsa follow up that fine performance, or was it thanks for playing? We did our job, and in comes the Miners of Charlotte.
Man, I'll answer that one. And I was South Carolina Davidson was one I wanted to bring up as well. I didn't look too much into this one as far as Charlotte, but I guess it you would think if Tulsa is a dog after last night's performance. I don't know. Charlotte's defense 42 against Boise State. I don't know. This was and I don't know for me, but I'd lean towards Charlotte, I guess. I don't know. This one's a hard I don't know for me.
Now, an absolute eye opener. Again, a lot of these names, these big name teams or the smaller schools with big name. We talked a few days ago about Wichita State and some of these these high profile names. Okay. Yeah. So again, it's early in the year. People just see Chicago, Illinois, Sister Mary, and they just get blown out of the gym last night to Tulsa. Yet Tulsa comes back against a no name called Charlotte. And you would think you would be able to flock to Charlotte. I mean, to Tulsa and say, well, you just beat this team by 20, yet they're 2.5-point dogs.
Yeah, 100%. And the other one, I was a little interested in South Carolina as well. So I'm glad you brought that one up. I mean, what was the final score of that Davidson game though? I mean that you could say the same thing as far as maybe overreacting and everyone's going to be betting against Davidson, but you got a 30-point loss or something in South Carolina's case to Colorado State on the same vein. So I was interested in South Carolina. Didn't play anything on it though. But it looks like your Wyoming got the 7-point win, straight up full game 7-point win. So plenty of whatever the second half number was. That's yeah. What's their? Oh man, what was their? There, it was a good laugh. Their home stadium is something super, something funny, like something very generic. Let's see. Let me see real quick. Oh yeah, Arena Auditorium. That's their. I don't know if that's where they played, but Arena Auditorium is what their stadium is called. If that isn't the most simple yet best name in college basketball, then call me crazy. I don't know.
Can you give me what Wyoming full game was before the opening tip?
Yeah, let's see here. They were 13 and a half.
Okay. So, guys, let me just, again, do a quick homework assignment with you guys here. They were down what at halftime?
I think it was 6. I can double check, but I think it was,
six.
down by 6.
Okay, guys. So usually what happens in a game like this or anything, this is your homework assignment here, guys, is 13-point favorites down 6 at halftime. So to cover that full spread, they got to win by 20 in the second half, okay? So what Vegas does here very simply is this, is if they didn't think they were going to win the game outright down 6, they would have given you around a 4.5-point spread, okay? But you're really buying 7 if you thought they were going to win the game. And people are sitting here saying, Jeff, what the hell are you talking about? Well, very simply this. Down 6 at halftime. If Vegas gave you a 4.5 and it lands on 5, that means they lose the game by 1 outright, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So far, everyone understands that, right? If it lands on 6, that means the game's going to overtime, correct? Because they were down by 6, okay? Right. They gave you a number of 9. So Vegas is telling you this, guys. They're not only going to not cover the 13, but the point of the matter is they're going to win the second half. They're going to win the game outright, and they're going to probably win the game, they're telling you, by 4 or more, and it landed on 7. They didn't cover the 13, guys. I get that part. We didn't give that out. But what I was trying to tell you very simply is this, is they were down 6. They gave you a 9, which Vegas is telling you they were going to win the game outright, and they're going to win it by 4 or more.
Right. And yeah, like you said, not by a buzzer beater, at the very least, probably, shooting free throws to take care of at worst, right? So, yeah, and I wasn't watching closely, but I didn't even see, maybe that was necessary. I honestly don't know, but yeah, that was a great call by you. Howard, I know a lot of people are interested in Howard. I know a lot of the spots, but yeah, Wyoming was a good team last year, so I'm interested to see where they go this year.
And I try to explain this, and I get on Twitter with these guys with check marks and big platforms, and they're talking about halftime numbers, and I try to explain it to them, and no one can understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. Let's just say you had Duke -8 pre-flop, okay? And Duke is down 6 at halftime, so you're saying they're not going to cover the full 8. How do I get back into this game? Well, their second half favorite is 4.5, and people jump for joy. They're like, oh my God, I'm not going to cover the 8, but let me get Duke -4.5 in the second half. Well, you're not buying 4.5. You're technically buying 7. Here's why. Because if they win the second half by 5, it lands that they lost the game by 1 by outright. If it lands on 6, which is a good possibility in the second half, you're going to overtime. Okay, so you're really buying 7 or more. But people don't understand that concept. I call it the square peg in the round hole effect. And usually it goes over these guys with the check marks, the big platforms, because they don't understand what I'm trying to explain. You're not buying 4.5. You're really buying 7. No, I'm buying 4.5. Yeah. No, you're not.
Right. And it's and that's why these basketball conversations. It's a lot more fun to break down, and it can help you what you expect to happen in the second half. Like you said, what was it, 8.5? You said for the Wyoming game there.
8.5 in 2 spots, 9 in a lot of other spots.
Yeah. So there you go. And obviously, and then what won by 7. So yeah, covered by 13 for the second half. Obviously, not the full game there. So yeah, I think when you say the second half numbers, I think it's hard for people to put it into terms of just the second half. They still want to hear what the full game number is. Like I said, I gave you the 1.5 on the full game, and that's what that's what they see, as opposed to looking at the actual second half number. Which is, to some degree the same, but like you said, yeah, if you break it down like that, it's a lot easier. It's very easy to understand when you break it down like that.
If you're looking at the NFL or a college football game, and for instance, you got a Buffalo Bill team that was 8-point favorites, and they were down 10 at halftime. Okay. And the fact of the matter, the go number is usually 6.5 or 7. Okay. So what they're is if you see a 3.5 or a 4, that's a stay away, guys. If you go to a second half game where you see 6.5, 7, I can go back to Super Bowls where teams are down 10 and they're 7, 7.5. That Vegas is telling you they got a run in them. That's the term that I like to use. They have a run in them. So if you're involved in a football game, take a look at the second half line. If you get a 6.5, 7, even a 7.5, that's a go number. And you can do the same in college football as well. Alabama, 24. And I'm choosing big name teams. I'll go to a small game. We'll just say for shits and giggles, Texas. Texas is playing Kansas. Texas 9-point favorites, down 10 at halftime. Well, second half number, Texas is favored by 9. Well, Vegas is giving you a pretty good saying, hey, we think they got a run in them. Not only do we think that they're going to come back and win the second half, we got a good possibility they come back and not just win the second half, but come back and win the game outright.
Right. 100%. And even there's certain times where you were late to the game. Maybe it was a plus 300 money line dog or something that's winning outright, and you want to, oh man, they're up, 14 to 9 in basketball or something like that. They've got a chance. And then now it's a plus 150. Well, they're kind of enticing you to take the plus money sign with a team that's winning, right? So, does it, it's, of course, it's none of this is 100%, but as far as strategy long term, if that's the way you're playing, then there's really no other way to play it, honestly.
Again, so the two things that I'll close here very simply with is again, take a look if you can shop around at over 1 took Baylor, Virginia. Now, what's going to haunt you there is if Baylor is guns a-blazing and Virginia can't throw it in the ocean, which we've seen before. Ralph Sampson is not playing for Virginia tonight, number one. So this Baylor team is loaded. And so keep an eye. If you can get a 129.5, I'd be interested in going over on that one. And I just want to go back to see if that number has moved anymore. It's a pick. So again, Fairleigh Dickinson opened up at plus 4.5. It's a pick right now. If you can get a pick or the money line, take a look at them against SIU Edwardsville. Closing thoughts, Riley.
Nothing crazy. I've got my Bulls Best Bet blog live up on my Twitter feed right now. I'm double checking. It's been a while since we talked about that, making sure nothing crazy has happened there. So still looking 8.5. Still feeling the same there. So I mean it's a like I like to say, kid in the candy store. Proceed with caution as far as there's a lot of potential big name programs, basketball, NBA teams, whatever it is. Definitely need to think twice about, look twice at, and some are going to be fine, some aren't going to be fine. So, you pick and choose your spots lightly, and as you like to say with the college basketball slate, you're probably going to be watching the top 25 matchups, but there might be a lot of value on some of these lower ones. I'm going to be watching the top 25 matchups because there's going to be some good ones, but might have I don't know if I'll have the SIUE and Fairleigh Dickinson one on my TV, but I might have something else like that if I've got some action on it.
Off tomorrow. I will reach out to you. I apologize on Sunday. I mean well. I really do. I get caught up. Just proceed with caution. I'm going to have the apron on early in the morning. I might tiptoe out to Boston for a quick lunch with Andrew McGinnis. I got to swoop back through South Boston at 6 to pick up my girls. It's Thanksgiving break for one of them, and they'll be down for the weekend. We got Friendsgiving on Sunday afternoon. But the goal is to get the ham and the turkey in the oven, get the vegetables set, shoot to the office, try to get a quick football show for us, and then head back with the apron on, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good to me. I will be ready to rock and roll. I've got Sunday morning. I'll be no Packers game, so no Packers blog, and I don't think there's any Bulls games on, so I'll be up looking at plenty of stuff anyway. So whether you're ready to go or not, I will be ready to go for you. So either way, though, it's Friendsgiving, and I understand it's Family Sunday. So if you can't make it, you can't make it. So it's no sweat at all. But either way, I will be ready for you, my friend.
Thanks and shout out to Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade. Always a great hour with us. Great job as always, Riley at Riley_Magnuson, the one. Myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest. Listen, we're here to educate. We do entertain a little. We save the entertainment for that 4-letter word and those other sly foxes and those other stations. Congrats to anyone that was watching live that jumped in on Wyoming. Second half, they get the cover. You got a couple potential leans from me and obviously Riley. It's been a great week. Having fun here. We got 5 weeks left of 2022. 2023 is going to be our biggest year by far. Our 8th year in this spaces, Riley. Big things planned for you. We can't wait, and got some irons in the fire that could end up being some Christmas and New Year presents for you.
Hey, I'm not going to say no. So rain or shine, I will be sticking with you, my friend. No sweat.
I can't wait. I can't wait for sure. So everyone have a great evening. Don't be the pizza guy. Pick and choose, as we said, sprinkle a little something on a few of those dogs if you like them. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow morning with Scotty Webb. We're going to do a college football show. And then hopefully, God willing, myself and Riley will be back on Sunday. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. As we speak, Kawhi Leonard / Chris Paul downgraded to So let me see. No change. The line's baked in at 1.5. So if you're on the Suns tonight, God bless you. Play the money line. If you're on Utah, good luck there. Danny's rooting for you to lose. So it is what it is. So we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning.